From the golden age of Hollywood to the present day, few names carry as much weight, mystery, and controversy as Clint Eastwood. The man who built a legendary career with his cold stare and raspy voice was, behind the cameras, quietly building an empire, a fortune born not only of talent and fame, but of bold, calculated, and, to some, ruthless decisions. Today, we'll reveal what truly lies behind Clint Eastwood's secret fortune, and why that very wealth made his own family cry. This is not just a story of success, but one of secrets, disputes, and choices that divided even those who loved him most. While the world saw the relentless hero of Dirty Harry and the wise man of Gran Torino, few knew that off-screen, he was amassing million-dollar properties, hidden investments, and a financial legacy powerful enough to astonish anyone, even his children. What really happened when the truth about his inheritance came to light? Why did some family members feel betrayed, while others called Clint a visionary genius? And most surprising of all, some say he left secret instructions about who truly deserved his fortune. Documents read only after his death, revealing choices that shocked and moved everyone involved. Intrigues, unrecognized heirs, relationships silently broken, children who discovered too late who their real father was. This video will expose the emotional consequences behind the life of one of Hollywood's greatest icons. Before diving into this intense story, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. It's incredibly important because YouTube only shows our videos to more people when you engage. Every subscription, every like, and every comment helps the algorithm understand that this content deserves to be seen, and that's what keeps this channel alive and independent. If you'd like to support even more, you can click the Super Thanks button and leave a symbolic contribution. It's your way of showing you believe in deep, revealing content. But if you can't support financially right now, no problem. Just comment what surprised you most about this story. Your opinion makes all the difference. Get ready, because what you're about to discover will completely change how you see Clint Eastwood. From actor to magnate, from hero to a man surrounded by tears and secrets, this is the story Hollywood tried to hide. And stay until the end. The final revelation is so powerful that it will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about him. From Clint Eastwood's earliest days in Hollywood, few could have imagined that the young man with the calm voice and steady gaze, who often stood quietly at the edge of film sets, was already charting his path toward immortality. To many, he looked like another aspiring actor waiting for a lucky break. But behind that silence lived a calculating mind, one that studied the game of fame with surgical precision. What the world would later call charisma was, in truth, discipline. What people mistook for detachment was foresight. Eastwood never wanted to depend on anyone. Not agents, not producers, not studios. He wanted control, and he understood early on that fame might open doors, but ownership kept them from closing. In the glittering chaos of Hollywood's golden age, where success and ruin often lived side by side, Eastwood was already playing a longer game. While others sought applause, he studied contracts. While his peers drank to new roles, he quietly analyzed profit shares and royalties. He didn't want to be a star who worked for the system. He wanted to build a system of his own. Fame, he realized, was temporary. Control was permanent. That belief became the spine of his life, guiding every decision he would make. When opportunity finally knocked, it didn't come from a major studio. It came from across the ocean, an unusual offer for a low-budget western to be filmed in Italy by a director few in America had ever heard of. Most actors of his generation would have refused. But Eastwood saw something others didn't. He recognized a chance not only to act, but to leverage risk into freedom. He agreed to work for a fraction of a Hollywood salary, but he demanded a share of the profits, an unheard-of demand for a relatively unknown actor. That choice, seemingly small at the time, changed everything. The film was a fistful of dollars, and it launched a revolution. When the good, the bad, and the ugly followed, Eastwood was no longer just a face on a poster. He was a partner in success. While his co-stars took their fees and moved on, Clint continued earning each time the film played. That lesson would become his cornerstone. Power lies not in what you earn once, but in what you own forever. Returning to America, Eastwood carried with him a new sense of purpose. He had seen how control worked from the inside. He understood the machinery of production, and how to bend it in his favor. It wasn't enough to be an actor anymore. He wanted to create, direct, and command his own future. The studios called his decision to branch out reckless. He called it inevitable. Soon, he founded his own company, Malpaso. The name, meaning bad step in Spanish, was chosen as a joke, a reminder of every person who told him he was making a mistake. But that so-called bad step became one of the most brilliant moves in Hollywood history. With Malpaso, Eastwood didn't just make films, he owned them. Every script, every budget, every casting choice passed through his hands. He wasn't simply starring in stories. He was engineering their outcomes, both artistic and financial. While other actors waited for offers, Clint commissioned his own projects. His efficiency became legendary. He filmed quickly, on time, and under budget. Where others wasted money, he built equity. Every saved dollar became another stone in the fortress of independence he was quietly constructing. Yet his brilliance wasn't confined to the screen. Eastwood knew Hollywood was unpredictable. One bad film, one shift in audience taste, and fortunes could evaporate overnight. So he did something few celebrities of his era dared to do. He diversified. With the same discipline he brought to directing, he began to invest. Land, hotels, golf courses, vineyards, and ranches across California. To some, it looked eccentric. To Clint, it was simple math. Real estate could weather storms that cinema couldn't. The Mission Ranch in Carmel became his signature investment. Once a neglected property, it was reborn under his vision as a luxurious resort. It wasn't just about profit, it was about permanence. Every brick he restored represented stability in an industry that thrived on uncertainty. Despite his growing wealth, Eastwood lived with remarkable restraint. He drove ordinary cars, wore simple clothes, and avoided the kind of extravagance that defined many of his peers. Friends would joke that he lived like a working man who just happened to be rich. But that modesty was no accident. It was armor. The less people saw, the less they could take. He once remarked, almost cryptically, "If you tell people what you have, they'll want something from you. If you tell them nothing, they'll assume you have everything." It was more than a line, it was a creed. Silence became his shield. In the world of fame, where every secret eventually finds a spotlight, Eastwood mastered invisibility. No scandal, no reckless spending, no leaked contracts. He controlled information the same way he controlled film sets, quietly, decisively, and completely. That silence made him unpredictable. And in Hollywood, unpredictability is power. Over the years, Eastwood transformed from a hired actor into a complete institution. Through Malpaso, he created a system where creativity and control coexisted perfectly. He didn't chase trends, he defined them. The films he produced were lean, moral, and deeply human. Play Misty for Me, High Plains Drifter, Unforgiven, Mystic River, each one a reflection of the man behind the lens. Precise, disciplined, unsentimental, but unmistakably passionate. As he built his empire, Eastwood also built walls, not physical, but emotional. His need for control extended into every part of his life. Family dinners were calm, polite, but rarely intimate. Conversations about money or legacy were unwelcome. He loved his children, but not in the conventional way of grand gestures or indulgence. His affection was measured in trust, not gifts. To him, giving too much too easily taught weakness. He believed every person had to earn their place, just as he had earned his. When his financial documents eventually surfaced, revealing the sheer size of his fortune and the intricate structure of his trusts, even those closest to him were stunned. Some of his children had grown up thinking he lived modestly. The truth was far from modest. And yet, the surprise wasn't about the money, it was about the meaning behind his decisions. His wealth had been divided unequally. Certain children were written into trusts with significant shares. Others were left with symbolic or conditional inheritances. For a man who valued fairness in business, this selective generosity sparked confusion. When questioned, Clint's answer was disarmingly simple. "Those who worked with me know what they deserve." That one sentence carried both affection and finality. For him, family and merit were intertwined. Love didn't cancel accountability. Discipline wasn't cruelty, it was respect. But for those on the receiving end, it was difficult to separate the lesson from the pain. Tears were shed, Silences grew longer, and even admiration sometimes turned into distance. Eastwood's independence, once his greatest strength, now cast a shadow over his closest relationships. Still, he never apologized for it. In his eyes, emotion was the one thing capable of breaking discipline, and discipline was everything. He once said that a man's value lies in what he can control: his time, his choices, his response to life. To lose that control was to lose himself. He lived that principle to the end. Whether directing on set or managing his finances, he maintained composure, calm, and precision. Nothing was accidental. Everything was earned. To outsiders, Clint Eastwood was the embodiment of toughness. The cowboy who didn't flinch, the cop who stood alone, the man whose silence spoke louder than words. But behind that myth was a different kind of strength. He was meticulous, introspective, and profoundly private. He studied life like he studied film, frame by frame, searching for truth beneath the noise. Those who worked closely with him described a presence that was quiet yet commanding, kind yet distant, warm yet unreachable. He rarely raised his voice, but his authority filled every room he entered. He despised waste, of words, of time, of energy. Everything in his world served a purpose. Meetings were short, decisions were final, and sentiment was left outside the door. But underneath that structure was a man deeply aware of the fragility of success. He knew that fame could vanish in a headline, that admiration could sour overnight. So he built his life on things that couldn't be taken: ownership, reputation, and the freedom to say no. His secrecy fascinated journalists for decades. Reporters tried to trace his assets, to piece together the scope of his wealth. They found properties in other names, holdings spread across states, investments in art, in vineyards, in European film companies. Yet every discovery only deepened the mystery. When asked directly about it, Eastwood would smile that familiar half-smile and say, "The best way to protect what's yours is not to talk about it." It wasn't arrogance. It was wisdom born of experience. He had watched too many of his peers crumble under exposure. Silence was safety. As time passed, his philosophy evolved from mere financial prudence to something almost spiritual. Control wasn't just a strategy anymore. It was identity. He rejected excess and distraction. He found satisfaction not in accumulation, but in autonomy. Money, for him, was a tool, not a measure of success, but a guarantee of freedom. That same principle guided his philanthropy. He gave quietly, often anonymously, to environmental causes, veterans programs, and arts education. For Clint, good deeds weren't about credit. They were about contribution. By the time the 1990s arrived, Eastwood had achieved what few ever could: lasting relevance without scandal, influence without arrogance, fame without neediness. His films evolved alongside him, mirroring the man he had become: wise, restrained, occasionally bitter, but always human. In Unforgiven, he examined the cost of violence. In $1 Million Baby, he explored redemption and loss. In Gran Torino, he confronted mortality and legacy. Each film was both confession and philosophy, an echo of the values he lived by: work hard, say little, and control your destiny. On set, he remained a model of precision. He shot quickly, spoke softly, and trusted his instincts. Crew members often said working with him felt effortless, but that ease came from mastery. Every choice had been made before the cameras rolled. Every minute saved was money saved. Money that flowed back into Malpaso, into his empire, into the next opportunity. He turned filmmaking into an art of economy, proof that simplicity can be more powerful than spectacle. Yet even as he mastered the balance between art and business, one realm eluded his control: emotion. His need for order sometimes built barriers instead of bridges. Family members, upon learning of his financial arrangements, experienced not anger, but bewilderment. How could a man so generous with the world be so private with his own blood? How could someone capable of such empathy on screen remain so distant in life? The answer, as always, was found in his silence. For Clint, life was never about what you gave. It was about what you earned. He wasn't punishing anyone. He was teaching, the only way he knew how, through example, consequence, and restraint. That restraint became his signature. a kind of quiet genius that separated him from everyone else. He had outlasted generations of stars, outsmarted studios, and outworked expectations. While Hollywood chased novelty, Eastwood chased mastery. His story wasn't one of luck or indulgence, it was a lesson in endurance. He proved that power lies not in the spotlight but in the shadows, in the ability to walk away when others cling, to choose stillness over noise. His life is filled with paradoxes. He is a man of silence whose work speaks volumes, a man of discipline who creates stories drenched in emotion, a man who avoids attention yet commands it effortlessly. He lived as he directed, deliberately, with precision, every scene measured, every word intentional. Independence gave him power, but it also brought solitude. Privacy gave him peace, but it cost him closeness. Yet, in his eyes, every sacrifice was justified by one ultimate reward: freedom. Today, Clint Eastwood stands not just as a Hollywood legend, but as a symbol of control in a world addicted to chaos. His career, his fortune, his legacy, all reflect the same truth. Greatness is not about what you show, but what you protect. He built his empire quietly, preserved it fiercely, and lived it on his own terms. The story of Clint Eastwood isn't about money or fame. It's about the will to stay unbroken, to remain the author of your own life no matter the cost. And perhaps that's the final lesson he leaves behind, that real power doesn't shout. It doesn't seek validation. It exists in silence, steady, unwavering, and free. The man who spent a lifetime speaking through his characters never needed to explain himself. Because deep down, he knew something the rest of Hollywood never learned. The greatest fortune isn't the money you make, but the freedom you keep. And so we reach the end of this remarkable story about Clint Eastwood, a man who, behind the glamour of Hollywood and the charisma of his iconic roles, built a silent and strategic fortune that stunned his own family. His journey shows that true power doesn't lie in fame, but in the ability to make bold choices and maintain full control over one's life and investments. Yet, that same discipline and prudence created emotional distance. Children and former partners faced shock, confusion, and sometimes tears upon discovering the real scale of his wealth and the conditions of his trusts. Clint Eastwood is a rare example of independence and foresight, a man who turned modest opportunities into lasting empires, who diversified his investments and guarded his privacy with near-military precision. But his story also reminds us that great success often comes at emotional cost. As we uncover these hidden sides of his life, we feel both admiration and empathy for the artist, the father, and the man behind the legend. So, what do you think? Was Clint right to keep his secrets until the end, or did his family deserve to know the truth sooner? Let us know your opinion in the comments below. If this story surprised or moved you, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm recommend this content to more people who love deep, real, and powerful stories like this one. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe. Your subscription keeps this channel alive and independent. If you'd like to go a step further, you can use the Super Thanks button to contribute directly and show that you value investigative, revealing content like this. But even if you can't, your comment and your like already mean the world. And before you go, don't miss the video appearing now on your screen. I guarantee it's even more fascinating and emotional than this one. Click and stay with me, because the untold stories of Hollywood are just beginning. See you there.